College football is back, and we're back live on the Big Mountain.
Hey, welcome back to the Big Mountain. I am JY. This is my good friend Steve. It's another Wednesday night. It's another live pick show. JY is rocking the Aggies. I've got my Gun Rock brew. I've got my Aggie shirt. Unfortunately, there's no line for the UC Davis-Washington game. Very disappointing because UC Davis is playing, one of a team in one of our conferences. But freaking Vegas can't get their crap together. But anyway, shout out to the UC Davis Aggies, drinking the hazy IPA again, and wearing their shirt. I like this shirt.
Very cool. That's a nice shirt.
I like your shirt.
Yes, the Big Mountain.
I see that. I'm getting a blue one. I have it on order. I
All
like
right.
the blue. So I said that when I opened this up. I'm a blue kind of guy.
It's very nice. Oh, and it's Adidas.
Well, look, you were just talking about
Just
them.
announced today, Penn State, well, it's not formally announced, but Penn State switching from Nike to Adidas. A 10-year, $300 million deal. Tennessee Volunteers had already switched, so apparently Adidas they're like the new hot thing in athletic clothing.
Well, welcome, everybody. Welcome aboard. JEH is already saying that he is battered and bruised, but hoping for a better week, too. I'll be picking that game. I will also be picking the Coug game if Squeeze Money happens to show up here. He's a Coug fan. We already have somebody giving you an apology. You knew it was coming. Spence says that he apologizes for bashing FSU, Steve. You knew that was coming because we just actually recorded with Doug and TJ to talk about the week one game, FSU versus Bama, and talk about maybe the season. And I gave Steve his props, Spence. Don't worry. I gave him the pat on the back for everybody in the cellar dweller and myself and all the crap we gave him. Not only, they didn't even need the damn points. You took them with the points. They said, screw the points. We're going to beat them by that number of points.
Beat them outright. Yeah.
Holy crap.
I mean, if we have any Knowles fans on here, I mean, a huge week for Seminoles fans. And yeah, well, we talked about it on the live show. I questioned why Bama was getting so much love. Everyone's just assuming they're a top 3, top 5 team in the country. The last time we saw them, they got their butts kicked by a depleted Michigan team.
Right.
And yeah, there was no reason to think that Florida State was just going to go in there, and no logical reason to go in there and beat them straight up, but they did it. So nobody can give me shit for a little while for picking Florida State, but I can't pick them this week because they don't even have a line on their game.
Well, one of several, and we're going to get to them. I want to give a shout out to Nathan. He says, "Go Dogs, Fresno State." I'll be picking them. The chat's going to have to duke it out here. We got JEH with the Beavs. We got Nathan here with the Dogs.
Yeah.
And they're good. I'll tell them whom I'm picking here later on in the show. But you guys gotta fight it out in the chat there. And then Fia, shout out, one bet in week one, a 3-leg parlay. Freaking awesome. I know you don't like them, but I love them. 605 odds, hit it. Big win and win a chicken dinner.
Yeah, I dabble in the parlays every now and then, but what I say is you should pick all the games straight up, and then if you have 2 or 3, like our locks,
that's what I do. Yes,
take our locks and parlay them. That's a good idea.
Yes. New to this, welcome back. Haven't seen you in the chat for a while. Said Knowles made them look bad. Well, you can hear what we have to say about that game tomorrow when we drop that discussion with TJ and Doug. And a shout out to Doug.
Yeah.
Doug said they were going to win. And one of only a few.
And Doug was on record back in like May or June when he made his prediction of Florida State winning that game. So,
well, let's get to the picks.
I'm ready.
Big Ten, then Mountain West. I want to quickly talk realignment at the end. I dropped an episode yesterday regarding the Big West, regarding the West Coast Conference, regarding the United Athletic Conference. I have just a little bit more info on that. But you guys know we follow realignment. We'll bring you news when we have it. I got a lot of news yesterday. As soon as kind of that West Coast Conference San Diego piece dropped, which I heard something was coming, my goodness, everybody started throwing stuff at me. And I went, oh, good, this is good stuff. Yep. So we'll get to that at the end. Steve, Big Ten picks.
Oh, let's go. Let's roll right into them. So Northern Illinois at Maryland. Maryland's coming off a good week. They seem to have found their quarterback. So I'm taking Maryland to cover the 17.5. Northern Illinois, just rebuilding year, not looking so great early in the season. And Maryland, still, I think they're going to struggle this year in the Big Ten.
Sure.
But I like them in this game to cover the 17.5 points over Northern Illinois.
Well, this is one of two games that you and I will both be picking because I'm going to be picking NIU all season. Mm-hmm. You obviously are picking Maryland because they're a Big Ten team.
Yep.
We also will be picking the UCLA UNLV game together this week because that is a Mountain West and Big Ten
another one
matchup.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. Am I missing one? I think that's it. I think there's three. Yeah. Or two, I'm sorry. Two this week. And then, yeah, anyway, sorry. So, yes, Maryland, minus 17.5. Oh, I wanted to say NIU. I thought they might lose game number one against Holy Cross.
Yes, yeah.
They eked it out there at the end, won by, I believe it was a field goal, if I remember correctly. Offense struggled quite a bit to put some points up. So, and Maryland put up some points in week one.
Yes.
So kind of the difference here.
Maryland has found a quarterback, and I think, like I said, I still think they will struggle in the Big Ten, but they will put up some points. And Northern Illinois, I think, and you can talk about it more later, but to me, rebuilding year, kind of getting ready for next year when they go to the Mountain West.
All right. So Maryland minus 17.5. Now we get to your lovely Penn State Nittany Lions.
Yep. So second week in a row, Penn State will be hosting a game in Happy Valley. They're hosting Florida International. The line, again, really big. Last week, the line was like hovered between 42.5 to 45.5, and they did not cover. They ended up running the ball, I think, close to 50 times.
Yeah.
I'm done with these big. I don't bet the big lines. Anything over like 33, I don't bet them. Just because they're stupid big lines.
They are.
I picked Penn State to cover last week. James Franklin has a really good record covering those big point spreads. But their running game, I think they're going to want to run the ball again some more. So I'm taking Florida National plus the 41.5 points. I think Penn State will easily win this game. I just, if they go the same game plan they did last week, there's no way. I would be very surprised for them to cover 42 points.
Well, I just have to say right now, with that big line, there were 3 Mountain West Big Ten games. All of them, I think all of them, were pretty substantial lines.
Yep.
And all the Mountain West teams covered their spreads.
They did. Yeah.
So I just have to say that.
Yeah.
Okay. Going to a team that you seem to like this year quite a bit.
Absolutely. Yes, and I think they're up to number 12, I think, in the AP poll.
Okay.
Illinois, the Fighting Illini, they're traveling to Duke. This is a huge game, I think, for Illinois. I expect them to do well in the Big Ten. I don't think they'll get through the Big Ten undefeated, but I think they'll do well. And this is an opportunity for them to go on the road, get a Power 4 win against a solid Duke team. Duke played Elon this last week. They actually kind of struggled in the first half, but then the second half just pulled it out and pulled away. But I am taking Illinois at Duke to cover the 3 points, which you can get on DraftKings. You can get Illinois minus 3, and I'm making that a Big Mountain ice cold lock. I like him at 3.5. I was ready to lock him at 3.5, but if you can get the 3 on DraftKings, go for it. I really liked how Luke Altmaier in Illinois played in week 1. Again, Duke, a very solid team. I think this will be a close game, but I think not only does Illinois go in and get the win, but they cover the point spread. And I think they'll win by at least a touchdown, maybe 10 points or so.
Okay.
That's why I'm willing to lock Illinois minus 3, traveling to Durham.
So you'll see a few DKs. We always use, well, I can't say always because I put DKs on here, but we typically will always use FanDuel as our spreads. Mm-hmm. I did go on, saw a couple that are, and FanDuel is almost 95% of the time halves, right? 3.5. And FanDuel was 3.5. You locked them at 3.5. Yep. So still, if you only on FanDuel, Steve likes them at 3.5. I'm on both DraftKings and FanDuel. I saw they do a lot more straight picks, right? Where they're not giving you that half. And you can get them for straight up 3 there. I don't know what the odd differences is, right? So it might be, I don't know, 120 at 3.5 and a 110 at 3. I didn't look at that.
Right.
So just watch that. But you'll see a couple DKs, that's DraftKings, for a couple of these games. And I'm already on Illinois at 3.5. This was one I think you mentioned a little while back.
Yep.
I popped on that. I loved it. I see someone asking, or not asking, but saying how we did in week 1. And we will give you guys those stats after a few weeks. I mean, it's kind of after week 1. It's a little irrelevant. I think Joseph mentions on locks last week, Steve was 2-3. I was 1-1. I was 500 last week on my straight up pick or my spread picks in the Mountain West. I'm actually 1 over 500 because of the week 0 picks. You were a little under 500.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact. I have it written down somewhere. I didn't bring it. But anyway, we'll give you guys those stats as we get into the season here a little bit. We do track that. But we were, last week on locks, we were 3 and 4, which none of us like to be under 500,
Yep.
but that's okay. We're getting our feet wet. And I mean, honest with you, the first couple weeks, it's always tough. And you went heavy.
Yes.
Heavy on locks.
Yep.
So, okay. So there's our first lock of this week, Illinois -3 on DraftKings.
Yeah, so the next game, Kennesaw State at Indiana. Indiana, they didn't cover last week against ODU. They had, I think it was a 22.5 point spread. It was a close game in the first half, but Indiana pulled out. They're just a better team. I'm just going to go, I'm kind of switching again, this is not a game I'm going to bet, but my strategy on picking anytime that it's over 33 or so, most of the time, unless we're talking about just a juggernaut mismatch, I'm going to go and just take the points because these point spreads, even when teams get ahead, they might be ahead by that much at some point. You get the second, you get the third string in, the other team gets a late touchdown. The team that's up just starts running the ball, trying to run out of clock. So I'm taking Kennesaw State plus the 35.5. I think that Indiana will win this game comfortably. It's not an indictment on Indiana, and I will not bet this game, but for picks purposes, I'm making a pick on everyone that I can get a line, taking Kennesaw State plus the 35.5, and I'm still huge on Kurt Signetti and Indiana this year.
Okay, we got a big one coming up next, the Cy-Hawk game. Which way are you going?
Yeah, so with this one, I look at and this is one where FanDuel has it Iowa plus 3.5. DraftKings, you can get Iowa plus 3. I think maybe FanDuel has it 2.5 for Iowa.
Yes, 2.5.
2.5.
Plus 2.5.
Yes, exactly. So I'm going with the DraftKings line. I'm taking Iowa plus 3. To me, this is it's a toss-up game. It's a coin flip game every year. Doesn't matter how good the teams are. If one's having a better year than the other, whatever. Both these teams, I think, are looking really good this year. To me, it's a total coin flip game. So I'm taking Iowa plus the 3, plus the points here. Honestly, I see this game coming down to a field goal either way. So if I can get an extra field goal, I'm going to take it. So with DraftKings, I'm taking that Iowa plus 3.
Iowa State looking mighty good to start this year. But as you said, you kind of maybe throw a little bit of that out in this game, in this rivalry game, because it's kind of different.
Yeah, it's always a close, tight game.
Yeah, kind of like the Michigan-Ohio State game. They're just different.
Yep.
We're going to run our first poll. We have 3 polls tonight. The first poll for you guys here is, what was the biggest surprise for you in week 1? So I have a couple different games for you. We have, of course, the one we talked about right out of the gate, Florida State 31, Bama 17. We had the USF game versus Boise State, 34-7. USF with a very convincing win there at home. And then also, I've got to put my Tarleton State on here, Steve. Upsetting Army up in West Point in double overtime. Tarleton State 30, Army 27. Get your votes in now. We'll leave it up for a little bit, but some pretty darn good games right there, those 3.
I watched at least parts of all 3 games. We have a reaction episode on FSU Bama. We talked a lot about USF and Boise in the Discord with our members. And I just want to throw out there, Tarleton, man, they do not look like an FCS team to me. They look like an FBS team. I think sooner and later they're going to get a Conference USA invite. I think both of us would love to see them get a Mountain West invite. But if that doesn't happen, I see them in Conference USA. And honestly, they're number 5 in the country in FCS right now.
They are now, moved up to 5.
If they get the invite and they go to Conference USA, they'll be, I think right away, they'll be competing for Conference USA titles right away. They're a solid team, lots of talent.
I was fortunate. I totally forgot I could have recorded this freaking game. But I recorded the game after, which I believe was the Utah State UTEP game.
Yeah.
And because this went to double overtime, I actually got to see the end of the game and the 2 overtimes, which was fan-freaking-tastic.
Yes.
And, of course, the poor Army kicker.
I felt bad for him.
Yeah, he missed 2 field goals there to keep it tied or even for the win there.
One at the end of he had a chance to win at the end of regulation, missed that. Yeah.
But hey, Tarleton State with the huge upset, starting 2-0, and we follow them. I'm kind of with you. I'm my money's now that they're likely headed to Conference USA, just because I don't think the Mountain West right now is really ready to maybe add anybody, which I personally don't like. I don't like it. But hey, I'm not a president in that conference.
No, we're not privy to all the behind the scenes legal stuff, financial stuff, all of that.
Right.
So.
All right, so we'll leave that up for a little bit. Make sure you get your votes in, Steve. Back to you picking your Big Ten.
Yeah, so there's a couple games I don't have lines for, so I'm not picking. The Minnesota game and the Ohio State game, no lines. When I had to turn in my scores to get produced here for our show, there were no lines available, so I'm not picking those games, but I think both of them will win easily. So the next game, very interesting game, Oklahoma State at Oregon. Oregon is a 28.5-point favorite. Looked very good in week 1. Have tons and tons of talent and speed all over the roster, which has never been a question for them. And OK State, they're kind of struggling again out of the gate. Mm-hmm. Their coach, Mike Gundy, before the game even starts, he's already making excuses, talking about Oregon paid $30 million for their roster, and they have less than $3 million to spend or something like that. So it's never good when the coach is already complaining the week before the game that the other team has a bigger roster or bigger payroll for their roster, I guess. So I'm taking Oregon to cover the 28.5. I think there'll be enough talent difference. I think Oregon showed this last week that they will put they're not one of those teams, it doesn't look like it so far, that's just going to run the ball and get the win. Like, they want to score as many points as possible, and they have speed and talent all over. So I'm taking Oregon to cover the 28.5 points against Oklahoma State.
Okay, sounds good. They look good in week 1.
Yeah.
Another team you get to pick, I think, 2 weeks in a row here. Miami of Ohio.
Miami of Ohio at Rutgers. Miami of Ohio just played, was it Wisconsin, I think? Mm-hmm. But I believe they covered the spread, if I remember correctly. Yep. Barely. It was like 17.5.
I think it went up by like a half point.
Yeah, half point. I'm taking them again at Rutgers. Miami of Ohio plus 14.5. Again, like we talked about, this Rutgers team, I think they're just struggling a little bit this year. The defense looked really bad in the first game. I think Rutgers wins this game, but I think Miami of Ohio makes it difficult enough, stays with them. I love the fact that you're getting over 2 touchdowns. Because I could see Rutgers winning this by like 10 points.
Sure.
So I'm taking Miami plus the 14.5.
And they're a good team. They're a good team there in Miami, Ohio. So, all right. Where are we going next, Steve-O?
Okay, so Middle Tennessee at Wisconsin. Wisconsin, they weren't terrible in week 1. The line here is 28.5 points. We're getting close to my 33 threshold that I don't like to pick.
Yeah.
So, but I'm going to take Middle Tennessee plus the 28.5.
Okay.
I think Wisconsin again wins this game, wins it comfortably. They didn't cover the spread against Miami, Ohio. I don't think their offense is there yet. Like, I think in order to cover the spread, I think they'd have to score, close to about 40 points or so. I don't see them doing that. I could see this as like a 20-6 game or something like that. So I'm taking Middle Tennessee plus the 28.5 points.
All right. Let's close our poll, Steve. I know you still have about 5 or 6 picks. Let's see what everybody thought was the biggest surprise of week 1. USF versus Boise State gets 42% of the vote. Tarleton State versus Army gets 30%, and FSU versus Bama gets 26%. So a pretty good mix there. But I think not just Boise losing the game, but losing by 27 points. They went up 7-0, I believe, and then after that didn't score another point.
Yeah, there was a certain point where it looked like they were in the game, and then all of a sudden they weren't even in the game anymore.
For a team that a lot of people were saying, including us, was the most likely CFP hopeful, and they still can be. But that is and I said, I picked them, but I said, this is a tough week 1 for them. This is a hurdle that they've got to get over, and they freaking tripped right over the damn hurdle.
I got to throw a BS flag, JY.
Why?
So the of all the crap that I got about picking FSU, they're the third place on it. Only 26% think that's surprising.
Well, they listened to you. They listened to you.
All right. Okay.
Everybody listened to you. We went over this earlier, Steve. We all here.
Throw the flag. Throw the flag.
I understand. I actually thought that would be number one on the poll.
Yeah.
I thought the FSU Bama
Right.
would have had the most votes here. So we are a Mountain West centric channel.
Yeah.
And we all hate at the SEC.
Right.
And we don't really care about the ACC around here. So, I mean, let's be honest.
But there were a lot of ha-has going on when I picked
I
FSU.
understand. We already gave you your... Spence already came right out of the gate with it. So
right.
Spence is all over that.
I do have to say, I think I saw Carla Jenkins pop up. She's a huge Buckeyes fan. Follows both of us on Twitter. We converse with her. Her Buckeyes had a fantastic week one. I mean, they got the biggest win of the week. Defense especially looked really good. So I'm sure just congratulate Carla on that win.
Yes.
For her Buckeyes.
You just picked Oregon, and there's a lot of people in the chat that like that pick. Oregon rolls.
Yeah.
Gundy pissed them off, so bet Oregon.
Yes.
Ducks are going to roll. Oregon crushes OK State. Everybody likes your pick there with Oregon, no doubt about that.
I like it too.
All right. Well, that's why you took it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Next up.
All right. So, maybe controversial here. Michigan at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's the 5.5 point favorite. I'm taking Oklahoma to cover the 5.5. I think both of these are I mean, they're historic programs that are kind of rebounding a little bit.
Yeah.
And I will say, Michigan's quarterback did look very good. The freshman in the first week.
Yep.
Put up some good numbers.
Yep.
But I think it's still going to take some time for them. They're going to be going and playing a Brent Venables defense on the road in Norman. So I'm picking Oklahoma to cover the 5.5 points. I think they probably beat Michigan by a touchdown or so, maybe a little bit more.
Okay.
I'm not locking it.
Okay.
But I'm picking Oklahoma.
I'm gonna let you keep going, and there was a couple comments I want to make sure I get to. So you give your next pick, and then I may hit some comments.
Okay, Akron at Nebraska, a team that Mountain West fans, yourself in particular, should be very familiar with.
I watched them play.
Yes, you were in their stadium.
Let's see, 6 days ago.
Yeah, you were in their stadium.
I was.
You saw them play Wyoming.
I did.
And the score, I think that it was a 10-0.
10-0.
I think the score was closer than the game was, honestly. I think it didn't reflect. I think it was pretty good, solid dominance by Wyoming, where Wyoming maybe they didn't give it enough as many points as they probably should have for the difference in the game.
Yeah.
And they shut Akron out, and I can't really remember. Was Akron ever? I guess there was one point they were close to scoring. There was an interception in the end zone.
Yes, Braden Johnson picked it off in the end zone.
Yeah, so the only one time really all game they were that close to scoring. So Akron at Nebraska. Nebraska team I'm high on. Dylan Raiola. It'll be at home. This was on the borderline, but I decided to go ahead with Nebraska. I mean, Akron could not even score a point against Wyoming. Taking Nebraska to cover the 34.5 points at home. I think Nebraska rolls in this game, and I could see this as like a 41-0, 42-3 type game, something like that. So I'm willing to go that many points for Nebraska to cover.
So Hard Rockin' reminds everyone to hit that like button. Give a shout out to those that won some of our giveaways 2 weeks ago. I finally got them in the mail, Hard Rockin' being one of them. So hopefully those 3 individuals will get that. I don't have the hat yet, JEH, but when it comes in, we will get that shipped out to you. He was the big winner 2 weeks ago, JEH. He's getting a hat. Carla says PSU by obliteration.
I mean, I think they will physically obliterate Florida International. It's just whether the point spread. I mean, if they just run the ball like they did, I just don't see them getting enough points to cover the spread.
All right, Fia asked me about San Jose State. I will answer that question when I get to San Jose State. So hold off on that, Fia. I'll give you my thoughts. And I think that's it for now, Steve. I'll keep going.
Okay.
You go next.
All right, so big game here next. Georgia Southern at USC. USC looked really good against a bad team this last week, but they showed they were willing to throw it. Maeva had a great game in a quarter and a half.
Right, I was gonna say.
a great game in a quarter and a half. Their other quarterback, their freshman quarterback, came in and had a great game. Like both of them had great games. And USC kept throwing it. Lincoln Riley, I think, is on a mission. I think he finally has the team that he's wanted. He finally has combination of the quarterback that he wants, plus the skill positions, plus an improved defense. Probably not a dominant defense yet. I'm taking USC to cover the 28.5 points, and I'm making that another Big Mountain ice cold lock. I love the points here. I think USC, again, will score, would they score 70 against Missouri State?
Something stupid.
Georgia Southern's a better team than Georgia State, however, or than Missouri State. However, I think USC is still just going to roll. The skill position players they have. And in this game, Maeva may play 3 quarters, and I think they'll just keep throwing the ball. So I love USC to go win and win big. And that's why I took them to cover the 28.5 as a Big Mountain ice cold lock.
Let me give you this nugget.
Okay.
Fresno State beat that line last week.
Yes, exactly.
Against Georgia Southern.
Yes.
I was blown away by that game. I was high on Georgia Southern, and it was good. It was close till the halftime.
Yeah.
And then, man o'day, just don't let E.J. Warner throw the ball.
Yeah.
Run.
Right.
And Fresno State's going to be okay. But my gosh, when I saw that, I love the lock by you. I mean, USC is going to put up gobs of points. And, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that to crap on the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Pun intended.
Right.
I'm saying that to be like 28.5 for a USC offense.
Yes.
I am not worried about that whatsoever.
And I frankly was surprised at the line. I thought this was going to be another 35.5
right,
point line.
where you're kind of going,
Yes, exactly.
You're still picking USC, but you're not locking them.
Yeah,
right?
for under 30, I love this, under 30.
Totally.
And that's why I locked it.
So Atomic Skull asks if I have any UC Davis news, since I'm, wearing their shirt and drinking their beer. I do not have any UC Davis news. We just got free beer and a nice shirt from UC Davis the other week, and I'm wearing their goods. So, yeah. Apparently, we're going to get some NIU goods. That's what I've been told. So we may be getting some Husky garb here in the not too distant future. And I'll be honest with you, I'm going to go back to the Cyhawk game. I know it's been a little bit, but we got Joseph saying ISU going to blow them out. We've got Steven Vitt, a good original dweller of ours. He likes Iowa State, and I'm kind of going with them. I know I'm not doubting you. You are the Big Ten guru. But I really like where Iowa State is here, and I'm kind of with Steven and Joseph.
Well, the thing
I
is,
like Iowa State.
Yeah, and they're getting a lot of credit. They beat Kansas State, was it?
Yeah, who almost lost this past week.
Exactly. And I picked them to beat Kansas State and had the reasons why, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
The thing is it's so hard to judge these Big 12 teams against. To me, it's really hard to judge Big 12 teams when they play each other.
Yeah.
Versus then when they have to play either an SEC or a Big Ten team.
Yeah.
So,
seeing a lot of people commenting on Tarleton, both the win versus Army, them going to Conference USA, of course. Hard Rockin' says Middle Tennessee is terrible. Okay, keep going, Steve. I'm pretty much caught up.
Yeah. Okay. All right. My next game, Boston College at Michigan State. I'm taking, and JEH, close your ears, but I'm taking Michigan State. The fighting John Smith? Is that what's the coach's name there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
Something like that.
I'm taking Michigan State to cover the 4.5. I think Michigan State, a good solid team. I think they'll have a good solid year. I think it's another year before they can compete for a Big Ten title. And Boston College, honestly, and you know how much I love Bill O'Brien. I think they're kind of maybe they're still just kind of in rebuilding mode. I think it's going to be hard for them to come halfway across the country, whatever, travel on the road. So I'm taking Michigan State to cover the 4.5. Not a lock, but I think it's a pick I'm comfortable with. I think Michigan State by about a touchdown.
I would agree with your pick there, no doubt. Although I know you love that magnificent butt chin.
I do. You said it before I could say it.
First time ever.
Yeah.
All right, your last one, buddy. The second game that you and I are both going to be picking.
Yeah, so I'll say before I pick that one.
I'm sorry.
Well, I'll just say there was a Purdue game and a Washington game. There was no lines available when I put my picks in, so I'm not picking those games this week. So my final game is UCLA at UNLV. You and I both have had our eyes on this one since pre-season, before the season even started, and then how the season has started for both teams, I think has made it even more interesting, even more intriguing. With Boise's loss, even though UNLV, I'm sure UNLV fans were scared after week one of the performance, but man, they're still in it for Mountain West title.
Absolutely.
If they got this win, an out-of-conference win against a Big Ten foe, and win a Mountain West title, that would be a great resume for, a CFP spot. And I think this is a huge game for UCLA. They just got their butts kicked by Utah, physically manhandled by Utah. Which I picked that game.
You did.
Knew that was going to happen, and I think they're going to struggle in the Big Ten this year. They need this win, or this season could get out of control. Spiral for Foster. There's already been a lot of questions about him. So I think this is one of the massive games for both of these teams of the season, even though it's out of conference. And I'm taking UNLV plus the points. UNLV plus 3, and get that on DraftKings. You get a full 3 points. I like UNLV to squeak this out and win straight up probably. It will be a close game, but the fact that I can get the points, I like it even more. UCLA had problems last year. They overachieved a little bit, but they had problems. They bring in Nico. I'm leaving Tennessee, and he looked terrible week one. I think they've taken a step back at the quarterback position from last year. Yes, UNLV, their defense has looked not great, especially in week one. It didn't look great. They're progressing. I think they'll get better. I think it's a coaching thing, not a talent. It's a matter of getting the team coached up. So I have UNLV on an upwards trend and UCLA on a downwards trend. So I'm taking UNLV plus 3 and get that on DraftKings. I thought about locking it, but we're just going to keep it as a pick.
Is that right?
Yeah, because I think UNLV will win this game straight up. So getting that extra field goal, I like it.
Atomic Skull is blown away that UNLV is the underdog. As you kind of just said, you think they're going to win straight up. We have a lot of people, of course, our good old UNLV fans, Tommy Gunn, Las Vegas Larry, our typical Vegas lovers, and they're loving it, and everybody is loving what you're saying here. I want to give a shout out to Spence. He mentioned the over. Wait till I get to my picks, because I have a few over-under picks for y'all tonight, because I kind of like them.
Honestly, it's one of those things for UNLV this year. If you took the over every game this year, I think you'd go 10-2 probably. So.
Okay, you may. All right. Well, there are Steve's Big Ten picks. Steve, I can tell you, I don't usually do this, but I'm gonna tell you the 3 that I'm definitely gonna bet.
Okay.
That you just picked.
Okay.
Illinois, Duke. I'm already on it.
Yep.
So that's a gimme. I'm already on it. And I think I'm on it at 2.5. I think that's when you picked it earlier. It's 2.5.
2.5.
It's moved on draft or on FanDuel to 3.5.
Yes.
But I think you and I are both on it at 2.5. Remember, you can get them on 3 at DraftKings.
Yep.
I'm also taking your USC Georgia Southern lock.
Yeah.
Under 30 points is surprising to me. Georgia Southern having to travel to California for their first 2 freaking games.
Yes.
How about who made that schedule? But yes, I love your US. I mean, I like that better than your Illinois lock. I'll be honest. I know you're high on Illinois, but I love that USC lock. I also like your Michigan State minus 4.5. Sorry, JEH, but I like that versus Boston College. Those are my 3 games that I'm definitely. I may. To shout out FIA, I may parlay those 3 games.
And I will tell you, I thought a couple times about locking up Michigan State, covering a 4.5. So it doesn't surprise me. That's one
I like all 3 of them. All right, let's get to the Mountain West. Francisco back in the house. I haven't seen him for a few weeks. Good to have you here, sir. And we're getting all the good old mountain dwellers in the house here for our week 2 picks. Great to have you all here. Make sure you keep chatting it up. Smash the like button if you feel so inclined. Let's go to our second poll before I get to picking. The second poll, very similar to the first poll. What Mountain West surprise did you have in week 1? And to me, there were 2. Because I had these 2 teams going to the Mountain West Championship game. And they still can get there. This is out of conference. Doesn't mean anything for the Mountain West Championship game. But, of course, we had Boise losing to USF. And we had San Jose State losing to CMU. And I will now give my opinion on the comment about CMU. I can't remember who asked, Somebody up above asked. I apologize, whoever that was. I think was it Atomic Skull, maybe? I don't know. Somebody asked about San Houston State. What do I think? I'm not worried about them. I'm not worried about.
You're talking about San Jose State.
What did I say?
You
Sam
said
Houston?
State, yeah.
Screw them. San Jose State.
They just played UNLV.
Yeah, they just played UNLV. San Jose State. I'm not worried about them. Walker Eaget, who I had as being in my A category for my quarterbacks, made some un-A-like decisions. Specifically at the beginning of the game, throwing into triple coverage for a pick in the end zone when all he had to do, and he had it wide open. He had an open receiver that was right in front of him. But forget that guy. Just throw it away. You don't have to throw it into triple coverage.
Yep.
Was I happy to see Walker Egret's game and 3 turnovers? No, I wasn't happy to see that. Was I disappointed that the running game looked very similar to last year? Yeah, because it wasn't great last year. But am I overly concerned after 1 week that, the Spartans aren't going to be as good as we thought they were? No, not yet. Not yet. I mean, Walker didn't have a good game. CMU actually, I thought, played a really good game. Tons of turnover there, but I'm not overly concerned. They play Texas this week, which, good luck.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was disappointed. I'm not overly concerned, but I was disappointed with kind of that coming out of the gate, high expectations. You're at home. CMU, not to take anything away from them, but they should beat them.
Yes.
So just disappointed more than anything. I'm not overly concerned.
And I think for both of these teams are still very much alive in the Mountain West.
Yes.
They may be the 2 teams in the Mountain West championship game.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem is for both teams. Does this basically kind of show us that there's going to be ongoing problems? We don't know. We'll see. We'll see if a pattern becomes a trend kind of thing. But also, it really, I think it hurts both teams if they were to win the Mountain West. It hurt their resume as far as especially Boise, trying to get to a CF. Now they basically have to knock off Notre Dame and win and go undefeated and win the Mountain West to get into the CFP.
The CFP's difficult for both of those teams.
Yes.
I'm more focused on my Mountain West championship game.
Yes.
I think Boise could still eke it out at 10-2 if they're the Mountain West champion, but they need help in other teams.
Yeah.
Like there's no 12-0 or 11-1 American champion. They need all of G6 to be no better than 10-2.
And they're losing to an American team.
Yes.
Which that really
doesn't
hurts.
help either. Yeah, for sure. It's not dead,
No.
but it's literally in the back room on life support.
Yes.
All right, so let's get to my picks then. Actually, let's just close this. We'll close this poll and then we'll get to the picks. So we'll see who everybody thought was the bigger. And not surprising, it was number 1 on the first poll. It is, again, Boise, USF. 70% people went, wowzers.
And again, not the fact that they lost, because they could go in there and lose, but the way they were physically dominated, especially, later into the game.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's go to my first pick. I have some big spreads too, Steve. You have them, I have them.
Yep.
Everybody has them here early on in the football season. So I've got San Jose State going to Texas. Texas coming off that week 1 loss up at Ohio State. They're going to want redemption. They're pissed off. They're going to want to score a lot of points. But I'm using your strategy and taking the points plus 36.5, mainly because I do think San Jose State is going to get some points in this game. Yes, Texas is going to score plenty of points. Trust me, they're pissed off. Yeah. They're going to want to steamroll whoever this team is that they're playing. It just happens to be San Jose State. And, when it's that high, I'm not betting this. I am absolutely not touching this game. But I will take the points for San Jose State because they want to come back. They just lost a game they thought they should have won. They don't think they think they're going to win this game, but they want to have a better showing, no doubt about it. They got to show improvement. So taking the points there with the Spartans. You have something?
I want to say something real quick about, we were talking about Boise, and someone mentioned Tulane, who I picked to win the American. I tell you what, the USF team looked really, really good. They got a lot of talent.
Yes.
And it may just end up, that Boise may have just lost to who ends up being, by the end of the season, the best G6 team.
Could be.
And it might not be close kind of thing. They may end up having a year this year like, UCF had years ago or Cincinnati had.
For sure. All right, next one, Utah State at Texas A&M. Utah State with a nice game against UTEP. Well, it remains to be seen if UTEP's offense struggled more than I thought, or if what did I do?
It's the logo, the Texas Longhorn on the burnt orange background.
That's what ESPN does.
I know. It's funny. Someone was like, "Oh boy, that was a bold choice to use the Longhorn logo on the burnt orange."
I didn't make the logo.
I know. It's funny because of the comment and
I understand.
Sorry to start.
I thought I said something, which is typical.
No.
The same thing happened with Sam Houston.
Yeah.
Do I get to them? Oh, I did them last week.
The comment just made me laugh, and then I look up and I see the logo.
Oh, no, we got Sam Houston again. The same damn thing happens with Sam Houston. Don't ask me why ESPN does that.
You're just clicking and pasting.
I'm clicking and pasting. It takes me enough time to do this, let alone get another damn... You can barely see the Longhorn on there.
Yeah, I can see.
He's there, trust me.
Horns down.
Horns down. All right, where are we at here?
Sorry,
no, you're fine. We're here to have fun. It's a Wednesday night, hump day. Let's go. Utah State, Texas A&M. And as I was saying, Utah State, whether it was Utah State's defense maybe playing better than I anticipated or UTEP's offense struggling more than I anticipated, probably a combination of two. Yeah. And we really don't know after 1 week. Right. I got to see these teams play a little bit more. And Bryson Barnes is going to be difficult for any team that gets... they go against here. Dual threat, the pig farmer. I like the kid. He looked good in week 1. So I'm going to take Utah State again. 31.5. I'll take the points here with them. Again, Texas A&M is going to win this game. You kind of said it with all of the picks that you did with these high spreads. But I'm just going to take the points. Again, not betting this game. I have no interest in betting this game. But I'll take the points with the Aggies. So let's get to one that I am going to bet. That is Fresno State and Oregon State. So I know we've got Bulldog and Bee fans in the comments. They want to know which way is JY going here with Fresno at Oregon State. The line, 3.5. And the Bulldogs are getting the point, Steve. And I'm taking the Bulldogs plus 3.5. Loved what I saw out of them against, I think, a good Georgia Southern team. And I also think, Oregon State they didn't look great in week 1. They played Cal 34-15. I think people are underestimating Cal, yes. Number 1. You've kind of talked about their quarterback. Who is that? Mendoza?
Well, he left and went to Indiana.
Okay, sorry.
But they actually have a new guy, and he looked pretty good in week 1.
Yeah, he looked pretty good in week 1 against Oregon State. And I think if the running game keeps going here for the Bulldogs, and if Warner doesn't turn the freaking ball over, that's a big if. Mm-hmm. But if he doesn't turn the ball over, I like taking the points here with the Bulldogs in this game. I think they roll from week 1, which was their second game, into week 2, which is the Bulldogs' third game here. Remember, they played in week 0.
Yep.
And so I'm going to take the points here with the Bulldogs. That's a safer bet knowing where these two teams are at right now.
Yeah, and Bulldogs they're trending well. They're looking good. They're overperforming. A team that's overperforming, I never hesitate to take them plus some points.
Right. I agree. And we'll give a shout out. Justin, I unfortunately cannot pick the Wyoming game because there's no line on the Wyoming game. They're playing Northern Iowa back at home in Laramie. And yes, I want to see this offense put up some points, hopefully. Defense was dominant in Akron. We talked about that game a little bit earlier when you picked the Akron, Nebraska game.
Yes.
And absolutely, the real game was not a 10-0 game.
Right.
The real game, and Coach Sawvell said it, they left 10 to 14 points out there. 100% accurate. This was a 24 to, frankly, 0 game is really what it was. I said going in, I wanted to see like 31 to 10, right? I want to see that 3 touchdown-ish margin, and the game really played out that way. The boys couldn't get it into the end zone. They couldn't score those points. And yes, Justin, let's see them get some points this week.
And it was not a case of like two inept offenses. The
No.
Wyoming offense was rolling up yards. I mean, I think, did they end up with did they crack 500 yards? I mean,
I don't know if they cracked 5. They were over 4.
There was a certain point. I mean, they were like double the yardage basically all day of Akron.
I think pretty much every drive, the starting field position was different.
Yeah.
Akron always had almost always had better starting field position. But the Cowboys would typically start it deep in their end, and they could get it to and over the 50, and then as soon as they got it into Akron's end, they would kind of stall out. But they could gain 30, 40, 50 yards kind of every possession. They just stalled. And yeah, we got to finish drives here, like no doubt about that.
And watching it on TV, you were in the booth watching on TV. They kept making a big deal about how like the yardage disparity between the two teams.
Yep. All right, let's get to the next pick, Steve. This is one that you picked, the UCLA at UNLV. The line 3.5, or it's actually 2.5, but we're taking the DraftKings line of 3. I'm also with you. I'm taking UNLV +3. I think it's silly to not take the points. I like them, honestly, to win the game straight up. Everything that you said there, I can't add much to it. I think you're seeing improvement. You're going to continue to see improvement. This is the game they've had circled from the fall camp. They struggled there in week 1 for whatever the case may have been, or week 0. They're week 1, week 0. Just didn't show up real good against a solid Idaho State team. Got things more on track there against Sam Houston last week. And I like where things stock here. And all the issues you have with UCLA, I can't speak to them as well as you can, but I think this sets up really nice for UNLV.
Well, I tell you, I talked about there's even more issues than I mentioned earlier.
Okay, well,
so I'll add some
crap on.
Yeah. Not only was Nico not very good, the offensive line was not very good. They could not run the ball very good. And the defense, you would think, people thought coming into their season that would be the strength of the team. The defense was not very good. There was just not much going well for UCLA so far in the first game.
Again, I want to give a thank you to Justin. Always appreciate your super chats. He's a Wyoming Cowboy fan. Nothing but the best. All right, let's check out some things here.
I want to Justin. What was it like having JY in the booth for the Wyoming game and getting to follow along? I hope he puts a comment in.
Okie dokie. Yeah, I did a live pregame and I did a live halftime, and then I was talking while I was showing the band, and I watched it later on and realized nobody could hear what I was saying.
I thought just being a band guy yourself, you were highlighting the band.
I was literally talking underneath of it, and I don't know that software well enough. Blame it on the tech. All right, okay, I didn't have my producer.
I know, right?
So anyway, all right, where are we going? Oh, so I picked. Did I pick? I did, and I also, as I said, I'm having an over/under pick, and I thought about the game line, over the game line, but what I like even more is the over the UNLV point total. So their point total is 26.5. I want over 26.5 for UNLV. They've scored 38 points in their first 2 games. I think they're well into the 30s in this game. The reason I didn't take the game over is because I'm not sure if UCLA is going to score enough for the game to be over, but I am confident in the UNLV offense.
Yeah, I like that. I probably would also. I've been looking at the game over because I think this is. Even though UNLV is improving, I think this is still 2 below average defenses.
Yes, right.
When you get 2 kind of bad defenses, the over isn't terribly high. The game over, so
I think it's 54.5.
Yeah, which is high, but it's not like
it's not that bad.
Yeah.
I originally was going to go game over, and then I'm like, let me look at UNLV. Yeah, I like that better.
Yeah.
Because, again, I like them in the 30s. So shout out, I believe it was Spence asking about over-unders, or shouting out the over, and I am taking the UNLV over in this game. All right, let's go to the next. San Diego State versus the Cougs up in Wazoo. I have a preview of this game that dropped today. Had Andre on. He's with the East Village Times. We had him on last year. I had him back to talk about the Aztecs versus Cougs. So if you guys want to check that out after this, if you didn't already, it's about a 20-minute video, right about 20 minutes. Good stuff there. He's an Aztec follower. The line here, I was surprised after what San Diego State did to Stony Brook, who came into the game in the top 25 of the SCF ranks.
Yeah.
Line here is basically a pick'em at 1.5. I'm taking the Aztecs plus 1.5. Of course, the Cougs here, 13-10 versus Idaho. And, Idaho's good, but they lost some of their players. They lost their coach. He's X down now in New Mexico. And they have a good program, but my goodness gracious, that offense struggled in this game. I think the Aztecs are going to run the ball and score plenty of points. I don't think they need 1.5. I like them straight up winners here, the Aztecs. It is up there at Washington State, but man, I'm shocked by this line. So Big Mountain Ice Cold Lock, San Diego State plus 1.5.
I love it. And I mean, it is Stony Brook, but San Diego State, they look like, they finally look like what the coach wanted them to look like. They're looking fast, they're using tempo, they're moving the ball. This could be maybe a little bounce. We'll see when they get a Mountain West play, but it could be a little bit of a bounce back here.
It
could. They might bounce higher back than we thought.
For sure. Shout out to Mark. He's saying, great show. Really glad I found you guys this year. Awesome. Great to have you, Mark. We like to have fun.
Yeah.
And we like to pick games.
Absolutely.
So there's my first lock. So you had 2.
Yep.
I have 1. Let's get to my next game here. This is Sam Houston. I got a little ahead of myself earlier. Sam Houston, 2 weeks in a row, I talk about them. Sam Houston State is traveling to Hawaii. The line here, 6.5. I love Hawaii. I love the offense. Another Big Mountain Ice Cold Lock, minus 6.5 Hawaii.
Love it.
I came out quick with that one.
Love
I milked the other Ice Cold Lock. I went quick on this one. Steve, look at the.
Oh, yes.
You like that?
I love it.
Orange on orange,
Orange
baby.
on orange.
It's just like Texas.
There's going to be I think there's going to be some green on orange violence in this game.
Dude, I'm telling you, after what I saw from Hawaii versus Stanford.
Yeah.
And what Hawaii did not look good versus Arizona, but I can tell you Arizona looked damn good.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, we talk about this Jekyll and Hyde.
Yes.
That is
home and
away
yes.
type of stuff. They're going to get back to the islands. They're going to want to come back with a nice, strong win. I think they put up plenty of points against Sam Houston. I know UNLV beat Sam Houston 38-21. I have no reason to believe that Hawaii doesn't score 38 points against Sam Houston as well. I have no reason to believe it.
I agree with you. Now, I will say there's one reason not to believe it.
Sorry, go ahead.
One thing that kind of bothers me with Hawaii, but I like your lock.
Yeah.
And you and I, we were messaging. I can't remember if we were texting or if we were on Discord after the Stanford game.
Yes.
And you said Hawaii's not going to beat Arizona.
No.
They should sit Alejandro for this game because they're not going to beat him.
No.
Give them time to rest. And I agree with you. I wish they would have done that because they really had no chance to win that game.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know that he got any worse. But having a week to rest an injury like that, I think would have been good.
Yeah.
But I think it's still going to be, they're going to be good enough. He'll be good enough and they will be good enough. I like your lock.
Thank you. So I went back to back. That will be my last one. I still have a few more picks. That is my last lock. So you have 2.
Yep.
I have 2. We're going to try to improve from last week. I want to give a shout out to our producer because Hard Rockin' loves the Ice Cold Lock logo with the sound effect. He calls it a big budget. I call it an awesome producer.
Yes.
When he showed me he had that sucker spinning, I went, I'm quitting my job.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it looked awesome.
I think we should double his salary.
I agree. Multiply it by 100. Okay. I also am doing over-under on this game because I like Hawaii's offense so much. I am taking them over 27.5 points. As I said, UNLV scored 38 against Sam Houston. I think Hawaii's well into the 30s as well. They're at home. Their pass offense is phenomenal. And I like them over. So I got Hawaii. I got 2 Mountain West teams
Overs.
that I'm high on their offense. I did UNLV earlier, and I've got Hawaii over 27.5.
Like it.
Because I like offense.
Yes.
All right, let's get to. I have 2 out of conferences. That's it for in conference. Any other game, we don't have lines. Okay. I didn't write them down. You know, we mentioned Wyoming earlier. There's a few more. We don't have lines on them. I don't have line on the Boise Friday night game versus Eastern Washington. These people need to get their lines out. But anyway, that's all I have. So I do have the NIU Maryland game because, as I mentioned, I'll always pick NIU. They're coming into the Mountain West, and I'll always pick UTEP. UTEP doesn't have a line either, so I can't pick UTEP. But I can pick NIU, and Steve, I'm with you. Maryland minus 17.5. Just too much struggle out of that NIU offense here. And the Maryland offense, I mean, they put up a decent amount of points last week. I've got to go with Maryland here. They're home. They're a Big Ten team, just bigger dudes.
Yeah.
I like NIU. I wish them the best, but I just don't see them being able to cover 17.5 in that game. The last one, Steve, this is way out of left field, and I love it.
Yeah.
Stanford at BYU. The line, 18.5, and I got to take BYU at home, minus 18.5. I think they wipe the floor with Stanford, and it's going to be a bloodbath.
BY who?
No, BYU in this game,
okay.
Just because I'm picking them.
Oh, okay.
When I don't pick them, they're BYU.
Oh, okay.
And I know my Wyoming fans are going to hate this pick.
Yeah.
I get it. But, we don't like Stanford. One of the worst, as you said before, one of the worst FBS teams here this year. We saw the struggles they had versus Hawaii. And so I got to take BYU at home here. And Stanford had a week off. It was kind of weird. They play that week 0 game. They don't play week 1. So that was, now they're coming here to week 2 with everybody else as their second game. But I'm going way out of conference, an old Mountain West team, and taking BYU.
I'll tell you what, I think, so if Stanford keeps that same starting quarterback that they had in against
Branson.
Yeah, keep him in. You can pick against the spread every single week all season, and I think you may go 12-0.
Well, there you have it. Fia thinks something should be a lock. I'm not sure. Maybe I think she's talking about the Stanford BYU game. He, whatever. Fia is talking about the because Stanford is horrendous. Yes, Matthew.
Yes.
Oh yeah, definitely thinking I should be locking the Stanford. I don't lock out of conference.
Yeah.
I never really lock them, but I like it if I pick it.
Yes.
Because typically we don't pick out of conference stuff.
I'm curious if we're going to see you pick Utah this season because
I 100% will be picking Utah because I love Utah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't love them, but I like picking them.
Yeah, and they're a historic Mountain West team.
They're another historic Mountain West team. Somebody asked, Hard Rocket asked about picking the Texas State UTSA game. I didn't have that. I thought about picking that, and then I'm like, nah, I'm not going to. I don't have a good reason.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting game. I like UTSA this year. I like, actually, I picked UTSA to win the conference this year. But my goodness, did Texas State's offense look phenomenal in week 1. Defense, maybe not quite as much.
Yeah.
But I'm anxious to see this game for both sides because I think Texas State does have a really good team. And as I said, I really like UTSA to win the conference. And we'll see. I'm not picking it, but that's a really interesting game.
Yeah, I think that's a hard game to pick. Yeah.
All right, Steve. That's our picks. I got one other thing, but go ahead.
So Atomic Skull asks, does Stanford move up to the Super League? Well, here's the thing with people are assuming there's going to be a Super League. It's going to be like a 64 team, whatever. Really depends on what your definition of the Super League is. I don't think there will be something necessarily like that. I think the de facto Super League is either just going to be the A4, which they're already in the ACC. But if you're talking about, some people think, okay, the eventual Super League is the SEC, the Big Ten plus Notre Dame. Then no, I don't see Stanford ever getting an invite to the Big Ten or the SEC. If they would have gotten an invite to the Big Ten, it would have been when Oregon and Washington got theirs, USC, UCLA. That would have been the time to go. They had a Big Ten commissioner, Kevin Warren, who was amenable maybe to getting into that San Francisco market. But the TV networks, they're not big on Stanford. Stanford does not draw the eyeballs, the TV numbers.
Right.
And also, everyone makes such a big deal about AAU status. I've brought it up as well. And Stanford they do not want to join the Big Ten's research consortium because they are a member of, there's basically a research or library consortium with the Ivy League, and they're a member of that. So they are not willing to join the Big Ten's research consortium. That is actually a much bigger thing than AAU status. So no, I don't see Stanford ever. And again, I don't want to crap on Stanford. I like Andrew Luck a lot, and I wish him success there. I think, they've kind of made their bed, with the ACC. There's like-minded schools.
Yeah.
Stanford has a lot of money. To travel, it isn't that big of a deal for them as maybe it is for Cal. So I think they stay with those like-minded schools, with Notre Dame and those like-minded schools in the ACC.
So the chat, while we're not picking the UTSA Texas State game, there's several people picking it in the chat, and all of them are picking UTSA. John, Joseph, Sargent. They all like UTSA, and we also have a lot of people enjoying and agreeing with my pick, because I have to give Mike the Michael a shout out. Haven't seen him in the chat in a while, but he thinks BYU is going to send Stanford on a 2-year mission trip.
Yeah, I can see that. And they'll be knocking on our door asking if we've heard about Jesus coming to America or something.
I don't know. Okay. He's already here, Steve.
Yeah, but something with the Native Americans and the Book of Latter-day Saints.
Okay. And then we've got, what is it? Joe Zay. Joe Z.A. I can't say it. Joe. What's he have? Big 12 ACC leftovers Smash League. How likely? Via Smash Capital. I don't know what that means.
I don't know either.
Okay. Sorry.
I was like, am I having a stroke? Am I not reading? What is happening?
All right, let's. John says he thinks we better start tapering off the alcohol.
I'm not
Steve's
even.
not even on the alcohol.
Yeah.
The problem with Gun Rock, it's 6.3%. That's part of the problem. John is always the caller outer. He always calls JY out.
Come on,
I
John.
must slur something.
Yes.
Am I slurring?
I've
had one beer.
I think you start to talk a little faster.
I always talk fast. Yeah. But just faster?
Faster.
I talk faster than fast?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Slow down.
John, don't be a hater. We get all these...
John loves us.
We get all these brews sent to us.
John, he likes to give us a hard time, and we love obtaining his hard time.
Yes.
All right, last thing, realignment. Real quick, I put out an episode yesterday because I had put something on X. It was on Monday, Labor Day. And I had said, hey, be on the lookout for some news coming out of the West Coast Conference, the one conference that has been completely quiet through all of this Western realignment. Other than losing Gonzaga, their biggest brand, other than losing people, they haven't talked about anything. So I was given information late last week. I confirmed it on Monday, and I was told, yep, it's coming out. They didn't tell me when. So I did put something on X saying, hey, heads up, West Coast Conference news are coming. And then Tuesday, a couple people reported that UC San Diego is going to be moving from the Big West to the West Coast Conference. I've also been told they're not done. There will be more to come. UC Irvine is getting a very good look as well. That means the Big West is going to have to look to backfill yet again. They did it once. We talked about that. After I put that out, I had people sending me info, one of which is my go-to source, the one that gave me the Texas State information. Those dwellers know all about Texas State and what we've been saying for many months. And he told me Denver is very much likely to go to the Big West.
Good hockey school.
Very good hockey. National champion, right? Yeah. So Denver possibly going to the Big West. And remember, we heard from Butterly, he's like, we're not just the Big Cal.
Yes.
We're the Big West.
Yes.
So Denver's one. I've been told there's another one, but I'm not sure who that is. So 2 more schools probably going to the Big West to backfill even more losses from the Big West. I was then also told the United, now remember, we had Commissioner Bacon come on, where we have the United and the ASUN and the WAC, kind of doing this whole alliance thing now. The WAC is honestly, frankly dead.
Yeah.
The United is becoming the WAC, all the football members, and the ASUN is the non-football members. And I was told they're looking to add 3 new members to be announced within weeks, Steve.
I still think that what they've done is a brilliant strategic move. They keep their 2 auto bids in basketball, form a really nice football conference.
Yep.
they're almost getting one over on people. They're doing such a good job.
They're doing a great job. And I wasn't told what who the members are. A different person reached out to me. All right, so the United came from another, I would call a very high-level source.
Yeah.
Okay, so both the Denver piece to the Big West and this 3 new members to the United, super high-level source. A different person said that, because there's people going, oh, is this, is it D2? When I put that on X, man, everybody's got opinions on who it might be. It was great comments and stuff. And I can't answer them because I don't know who the hell it is. But there was questions about whether or not it's D2 D2 schools moving up to D1, or is this a D1 kind of reorg? The rumor I got today was, and this is kind of new because I didn't have this on yesterday's info, was that it's D1 schools. But what they understand, we're talking about D1 schools moving conferences.
Reshuffling the deck.
Reshuffling the deck. But I'm with you. I think they've made the United stronger and the ASUN stronger, focusing on what those universities are focusing on in this new environment of college athletics. So love what they did there. If you missed our conversation with Commissioner Bacon, you can check that out. We had him on several months ago, shortly after that was announced. A lot of cool stuff. I know everybody wants to talk about the Pac-12 and the Mountain West, and we love to talk about it, or hell, the Big Ten and FSU, the big boys. But there's a lot of cool stuff happening, here with Division I at these mid-majors, and it's still the trickle down, and it's going to continue to happen. And it's all this shuffling matters, because I also think the United, this wasn't said to me, but the United's gearing up to, in my opinion, we talked about Tarleton earlier, to lose Tarleton.
Yeah.
Right? They're gearing up for that to happen, and it's gonna happen.
Yep.
I don't know if it's gonna happen in a month or 2 or a year or 2, but it's gonna happen. So people are preparing themselves.
It's funny, in our Discord that we have for members, I had just said, yesterday, that that we're going to see a lot more realignment out west before anything happens, and then boom, you get this info and drop an episode. And I do want to say, so you mentioned, is it Mark Moles?
Sorry, I may have gone down too far. People have been chatting.
Mark Moles, a Buckeye fan. Welcome. We've seen him in here before, but maybe not lately. So I just wanted to say to him what I said to Carla Jenkins earlier, because I don't know if he was on. So Mark Moles, he's a Buckeye fan. Congratulations to your Buckeyes. Huge win over Texas. I'm sure you had to be super, super excited. Great game. The biggest win of the year for any team, I think, and maybe the FSU Bama game. But I just want to say welcome, Mark.
Absolutely.
And congratulations to your Buckeyes.
So I have one last poll. Our producer reminded me, and then that's how quick I forget things.
Yeah.
But this has to do with Week 2 Mountain West, and then I want to just real quick check out our chat, make sure there's nothing we missed, and then we're going to close this sucker out. But which Week 2 game are you most interested in the Mountain West? You've got the Fresno State, Oregon State game. Remember, I'm taking Fresno State plus 3.5. You've got the San Diego State versus Washington State game. Remember, I'm taking San Diego State plus 1.5, but I think they win that outright. And shout out to those two, because those next year will be in conference games for the Pac-12. Beating those first two. Then, of course, we've got the big one. UCLA traveling to UNLV. Get your votes in now. Which are you most interested in? I know we're going to get votes. At least one vote for every one of those. I know we are, because I know who's in the chat.
Okay, so I got a question for you while they vote. Okay.
Yes.
All right, so let's say this week we could teleport you to any Mountain West game except for Wyoming, because you've already seen them play in person, and you maybe might go to another Wyoming game later. Okay, so we'll eliminate them. If you could go to one with a current Mountain West team, one game this week, and be in the booth again and watch in person, which would it be?
UCLA, UNLV.
Yeah, that's what
That's an easy one. Yeah. Now, if you take that one off the table.
Okay, all right, what's second?
Because that, to me, that's pretty
huge,
obvious,
yeah.
right? Like UCLA, UNLV in
Massive
Allegiant.
game in Allegiant.
Yeah, you're going to give me a booth in Allegiant?
In
First
Vegas.
of all, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Second of all, I'm in Vegas. Third of all, and most importantly, UNLV versus UCLA.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
let's take that one off. Actually, I would probably go to... I think I would go to the Fresno Oregon State game. I think that's going to be a good game. I'd like to see both of those teams play. I'd like to go to Corvallis, believe it or not. For everybody that thinks I am a Pack hater,
Yeah.
I'd like to go there. So I would pick, if we're taking the UNLV game off the table, I would pick Fresno State at Oregon State. That would be of interest to me.
You could wear your built not bought shirt
I
around
could,
town, and
absolutely.
everyone would love you.
I don't know if they would love me, but I'd wear the shirt thanks to JEH. All right. Let's close this poll. Let's see what we got. I know I'm 90% sure we'll have a vote on every one of those. See which one. I know we've got a lot of UNLV fans, so yeah, 2/3, 66%, of course, says the UNLV UCLA game. A strong 30% Fresno and Oregon State.
Yeah,
that's strong, and apparently one vote for the San Diego State and Washington State game. Yeah,
so
fair enough.
They're pretty much where your head was at.
Yeah. JEH thinks I would love Corvallis. Maybe someday I'll get there. Let's go back up here real quick, Steve. Joe's saying, this is back when we were talking Denver hockey school. You mentioned that for sure. I just want to see if there's any questions up here. That's where John's giving me a hard time about my gun rock. So that's when I know that's what we've read.
Yeah. So okay. I believe you mentioned Corvallis. So real quick, I believe and JH will correct us, that they play the Civil War in it's not a neutral site. They rotate, play it in Autzen and play it in Corvallis, rotate like normal games. That would be awesome to go to that game. Like go to both. Go 1 year to Corvallis, 1 year to Eugene and Autzen, and see that. That would be a massive game. That would be really cool.
Okay, so what is it? ISA26 asked the question about D2 schools. I did answer that, and they say interesting, so clear. Which is, I guess, there's a special
fiber
package.
optic.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I think we're back.
Oh, I closed it. All right, guys. Well, apparently we lost you for a while. If we're back, we apologize. We were done anyway, Steve.
Yes. We made all our picks.
Anyway, so hey, we thank you guys for watching this episode. There's construction going on around my house, around our houses, and we go really, really good, and it just drops like that. So anyway, hey, thank you guys so much. Smash that like button. We're doing an official goodbye, but we do our picks every Wednesday night. Love to have all that chatter. Appreciate Justin. Give us another super chat. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time on the Big Mountain.